Good evening, everybody. My name is the PodBrother. Welcome to the PodBrother Show. And what you see right now is my website, and I happen to be in a Nordic Track commercial. So every once in a while, I might flip back to that just so you guys can see my world. But right now, we are at Fantuzzi's birthday party, and I am with two beautiful, lovely spiritual goddesses who are doing some deep breathing exercises and some meditation before they come on the show to get kind of psyched up and pumped for what's about to happen in these next few moments. Ladies, how are you?
Is galactic a good word for it?
Yes, it's a great word for it.
I feel galactic right now.
I feel it's undescribable. I can't even describe it. I feel
so
amazing.
grateful.
So grateful. So grateful and so thankful.
So let me get your names.
Yeah.
What are your names?
My name is Maite.
Maite.
Castagnoli.
My name is Jennifer Tran.
Jennifer, talking to that microphone, I need.
My name is Jennifer Tran.
Jennifer Tran and Maite. How did you guys find out about the party?
Through our
Source.
lovely... yeah, there you go.
Does that count as an
Source.
answer? Source.
Like how ever meets magical encounters.
Yeah, magical encounters. We met Christian at Bhakti Fest.
Yes.
And what is Bhakti Fest for people who don't know? What is that?
How do you explain Bhakti Fest?
A place where magic happens.
A place where it's just family. You're surrounded by family. You're surrounded by your soul tribe. Like
You find your family.
yeah.
Because, like...
That's how we found each other. That is how we found each other. Like on the way there, I spoke to the source of the universe, whatever. I was like, soul tribe, come to me. Like I miss my family, you know?
I did the exact same thing. I had a 9-hour drive because I drove down here from San Francisco. And the entire time was like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to Bhakti for, but...
Is that where you live, San Francisco?
Yes.
Okay.
That is where I live.
So you hung out for this party and then you're going to head back after? Or maybe not?
We'll see what happens. You never know.
We've been talking to some, like... How do we just...
Her name is Athena
Just, like,
Starseed.
the people that we've met so far in general.
Yes.
But yes, Athena Starseed.
Check her
Athena
out.
Starseed.
I don't know her website, but Google. I'm sure you can find her.
Just like the most magical people who activated so much deep within, you know, like
Okay, but Bhakti Fest. So Bhakti Fest is located in Southern California, for those of you who don't know, and it's at Joshua Tree Retreat Center. And it's a 4-day festival, and there's meditation, yoga, workshops, breath work, so much like
lectures. Deepak Chopra was there.
Yes, Krishna Das was also there. It's just a very spiritual place
where people go to open their hearts.
Yes.
Unknowingly.
Yes.
It's almost something that just happens
Yes.
because of the way that the energy is so high. The vibrations are so high at Bhakti Fest that yours, no matter who you are, you come in, you're just elevated to that level, to that frequency of making change happen. Am I allowed to swear on this? Because I was about to say shit. It makes shit happen.
Magical shit, though.
Yeah,
Magical
craziest-
shit.
your heart rips open, and then you just like pick up the pieces that serve you most, and you like go into your life. And everybody that we've talked to, I feel like has either been there multiple times, or if this was the first time, then everybody's hearts were just opened, and it was the most comfortable space you could be in.
Very healing as well.
Yeah.
So healing.
Nice. So how many days is it? Is it like a week, a weekend? How long is it?
It's you can get there on Wednesday. You can get there on Wednesday, maybe even earlier than that, and then it's over on Sunday. But there's what's it called? Intensive on Monday.
And explain what the intensive is.
I just know one yoga class.
There was like, I don't know, I guess like the workshop leaders, or I guess you can say leaders or instructors, like they kind of like explain to you like what is happening or like what they do, I guess. I'm not explaining this right. But so like there's cacao ceremonies, and like there was a breath workshop led by Michael Baker, and he said come on Monday and he'll explain like the scientific facts behind breath work and stuff like that. I guess that's what it is.
And what's the cacao ceremony? Cacao
Ceremony. Cacao is
a heart-opening medicine.
Yeah.
It's like chocolate, but not
sacred,
really.
Like if you treat it sacred, it'll help your brain no matter what. It's good for your brain and your heart. Dark chocolate is a brain food, and that's what I tell myself as I'm like eating my.
That's the medicine. It's like a dark chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. And you if you treat it like a ceremony, and if you treat it like a ceremony and you
pray with it,
yeah, and you treat it as sacred, you know.
It will serve you well.
It heals. It heals.
It heals.
We did
so
this.
So what exactly is the ceremony for the people who do not know what it is? Like walk me through it. Okay, so you show up, you take your shoes off, you sit down, you have some chocolate, you do deep breathing, and you pray.
That's basically the skeleton of what happens, but you definitely put an intention in.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody gets their cup, but you don't drink it until everybody gets their cup.
Mm-hmm.
And then whoever's leading the ceremony will typically say, you know, to them, put your intentions into it.
Pray with
Switch
it.
hands with your microphone so that so you can talk into it.
Put your intention into it, and
pray with it. Send it light.
And what are you praying for? Things for yourself, things for others, world peace.
Anything you want, basically.
it should integrate both the self and the collective. So, for example, you could say, I shed what needs to be shed for the good of all humanity, you know? So it helps both you and the collective.
So if you have an issue that's not good for humanity, in the ceremony you can pray to release that on behalf
Absolutely.
of
Absolutely.
On behalf of others.
Yes.
Okay. That sounds cool.
Really cool. Why are you laughing at me?
Because it's awesome.
It is so
The
awesome.
synchronicities have just been like...
Talk to that microphone. We can't hear you.
The synchronicities have just been crazy. They've just been crazy.
Yes.
Like, our lives are about to be uprooted.
Yes.
In a good way.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
You need some uprooting.
if that's what source, spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, wants, and if that's how we're going to be able to best serve the world and humanity to raise human consciousness and raise people to the highest vibrations, then yeah,
Yes.
our lives will be uprooted.
Yes.
And in the best way possible, because we're putting
Yes.
all of our faith and all of our trust and love into it.
Yeah, and fulfilling our mission,
Yeah.
our purpose.
Like, we met at Bhakti Fest, and now we're moving to Kauai together.
Yes, and creating our own
And
podcast.
we're creating our own podcast.
And we're on a podcast.
And we're on a
Well-
podcast, and we're about to interview the craziest people, like,
So what is your mission? What is your purpose?
to serve humanity
In what way?
in the best way possible by helping them remember who they are
Yes.
through opening their hearts.
Mhm.
and
That's
how,
truly the best way to do it.
and how do
is
you plan on opening their hearts?
love?
Mm.
And awareness, I guess. Would you say?
Yeah.
Like, what does your intuition tell you? How do you
Like,
see
I
us?
think the best way to help a person is really being our true authentic selves, and then we're gonna inspire them to
yes.
be their raw authentic selves.
Oh my
and
God.
like, when we are our true selves, we are here to serve through our fullest potential.
How do you know when you get there? How do you know you're at that point that you are your true self?
I guess you just
You
feel
you
it.
continuously do it. It's not like I'm at my true self now. It continuously unfolds.
Yes.
And every single day is like a new
Yes.
opportunity. Let me scratch that. Every single breath is a new opportunity to start anew and to just pick a different vibration, pick a higher vibration. Tune
Yeah.
into the higher frequency.
Yes.
Every breath is an opportunity to do that.
And yes, and you will unfold layers of yourself to meet the core essence of your being.
Yes.
And music is a very strong part of that because I
And
noticed
Maite here is an incredible
Oh no.
musician.
Oh, thank you. I'll accept that. You know what? I'm working on accepting compliments. I'm really bad at that. So thank you. I accept that. And she's working on receiving.
I'm working on receiving.
We're just like working on so many incredible things so that we can raise our vibrations. And that, to answer your question, is the best thing that you can do is, like she said, be your best authentic self and just like continuously unfold and be like, what's my shadow work? Jen does amazing shadow work because she's so inquisitive, and that's why I know you're gonna be a rock star on our podcast. Like, she's so inquisitive. She's like a shadow worker. You go to depths. People are afraid to go to depths, but Jen here dives deep.
And then we transmute it into light. We help them.
So tell me about your music. What's your music about?
Oh man.
And what do you play? You sing? Do you guitar, piano?
I'm a singer-songwriter. I love playing piano. And I love playing ukulele because it's so versatile and, what's the word I'm looking for? Not transportational. Anybody? No? All right. You get what I'm saying then, obviously.
Transitional?
Like, oh man, it'll come to me. But it's so portable. There we go.
Portable. Okay.
Yeah, it's so portable, so you can take it anywhere. But if there's a piano and that's an option, like, I love that. I love singing, songwriting. I love songwriting. I guess it's just kind of about, it's poetry. It's like taking consciousness and turning it into poetry. Hafiz has this quote. Remember we talked about this? The quote by Hafiz about the dancers?
Yes.
I'm not going to recite the entire thing, but look it up. It's called Two Dancers or something, or Multiple Dancers. I don't know what it's called.
You can find it on the internet.
It's a Hafiz poem, and he basically says that it takes people it takes people a lot of imagery to muster up like the ability to like listen and download a message. Like in psych, you learn that emotion is the best way that you're going to remember what you're learning. If there's no emotion in what you're learning, you're not going to remember it. That's why like so many of us go to college and we completely forget what we learned. Like, I don't know about you, but like I was like, what did I learn in college? And I remember like heightened experiences that were emotionally driven. Don't you think?
Yes. There's this.
So the emotional attachment to what you learn, it allows it to embed and stay with you longer.
Absolutely. Oh, that was so beautifully said. So poetic. Yeah.
I have some gems every once in a while. Not too often, but
I'm sure that that's an understatement and you're being very humble.
Well, bless you, my child.
Bless you right back, honestly.
Yes, bless you right back. Back at ya.
But yeah, we're about to do huge things, and
yes. And honestly, if you want something, just put it out into the universe. Just say it. Your voice is so powerful. Just put it out there, and you're gonna manifest it, and you're gonna cross paths with these people who will help you, these beings, these powerful beings who will help you get there and help you align with yourself.
Now tell me about your podcast. Is because that's kind of what I do, and I could possibly help you produce your podcast. But tell me about like what your podcast would be about, and it would be the two of you hosting it, and
So we're planting that seed right now. We're planting that seed.
Well, we've already planted it. Yeah. We've already been gifted it.
We planted that seed.
Okay, so
we said thank you for it.
Yes, so now we're gonna water it and nurture it and help it grow and.
So walk me through your podcast. It opens up with your music, and then you introduce a topic, and then you have meditation, you have some spiritual, and then you have a guest, and then you have reflection.
Yes.
Walk me through your show.
I think whatever just comes through, and like.
I think that, yeah. We spoke this into existence like 2 days ago.
So now you have the possibility of making it something that's
it's already happening. It's already happening. Like this is literally us doing it. Like this is literally, we said podcast. We said we're doing a podcast, and now we're on a podcast 2 days later. Magic is the realest thing in the world, you guys. Like, oh.
Wait, can I ask you a
words
question?
Are spells. Oh my god.
Yes.
Okay, so since we want to like create our own podcast, and it's happening, but what are some like tips and guidance that you can give us to help our podcast blossom? To
help get the message out to the people, the masses.
Well, the first thing that you want to identify is your message. Yes. So if someone is going to listen to your podcast, what's the takeaway What are they going to leave with? What's the message, the mission? What's the franchisable nugget that you guys offer that's going to make them want to come back and listen to your podcast versus the hundreds of other podcasts they have the option to listen to? So you want to give that some thought as to, all right, are you going to walk away with a feel good spiritually? Are you going to walk away with a feel good emotionally? Are you going to walk away with learning something? Are you going to walk away with experiencing some poetry or some music or some wisdom? And what's the takeaway? What's the takeaway after I watch your show? And what can I share from your show at the water cooler in the office? The other thing is the dynamic character and personality that you want to bring. Is it something manufactured and fake and you want to sell it as a norm, or is it something that is organic and real and something that comes from your heart and comes from your brain and it comes from why you're put on the earth in the first place? So those two things are the two most compelling, the two most dynamic things you need to have when you're thinking about a podcast you want to do. Once you have your mind wrapped around that, the third thing is, what are the other guests and people and groups and music that you want to pull into your podcast experience, and what do they bring to the table, and what's the takeaway that guests are going to listen to the guests that you have on your show? What's the takeaway with that? So when you're talking at the water cooler about listening to your podcast, you can say, I feel emotionally, fulfilled. I feel spiritually fulfilled. Their voices are cute and sexy. They're funny. They're uplifting. The music was awesome. I can't wait to listen to the next podcast because they're so cool. They're so cute. And I can resonate with everything that they're saying. And that's why I want to come back. So if you guys, in the engineering of what you want to do with your podcast, incorporate that from the beginning, now you're kind of following a blueprint of how to make your podcast attractive and marketable. And you have to do your podcast as if you're talking to one person at a time. You're talking to an individual person, because realistically, that person in their car driving to work is in their car by themselves, and they feel it's just the two of you talking to only them. So if you are referring to they and them and your audiences as a group, and you never really individualize what you're saying, people will never feel like they're part of a personal, individual connection with you personally. Because I am in my car by myself listening to your podcast, and I'm not a they, I'm an I. I'm a me.
So it's
and
you.
I'm listening to you.
Talk to you, yeah.
And it's you. So, those are the tips that I
Those
that I
are
can give you.
amazing tips. Thank you so much. Oh my god.
Thank you for that.
That was like so nice. I never would have thought of any of that. Like, that's
Thank you.
gratitude.
Thank you. Yeah, I think when you said, talk like you're talking to one person, like that, like connection, like that one-on-one.
Because that's totally what keeps me going back to podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I love the podcast that I love, because it just genuinely feels like you're getting to know somebody, you're hanging out with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the last tip is you got to eat the microphone.
Right.
Because
can you further explain what you mean by eat the microphone?
I think he means like keep it really close to your mouth.
Got to keep it really close to your lips.
Damn, because you can't really hear us. Check 1, check 2.
Correct. So as you pull away from the microphone, then your voice fades. And if you're saying something important, we don't hear it, then we'll tune out.
That would suck.
Yeah.
That's a really good tip
So
too.
flailing around is not good.
Okay, thank you for that tip. We're new. Thank you.
We're newbies.
We're learning.
It's not good.
These are amazing lessons to just like this is the third freaking door.
Can you explain to people listening
Oh my
what
gosh,
the third door
you
means?
must read The Third Door by Alex Benayan. Do we have time for me to tell this really fast?
Yes.
Thank you. The third door is this book about Alex Benayan, and he basically talks about, he tells the analogy of a club, right? And at a club, there's always the first door. That's the door that everybody goes through, that like you pay to go through. You know, you have to go and wait in line for a bunch of time. There's a second door, that's the VIP door, and that's where the VIP walk in, the people who are wealthy, who can pay for it, the people who have big names. And then there's always a third door, which is like getting in through the bathroom window or going through the back kitchen, just as the whatever. There's always a third door, and he basically relates that to life and says that there's always the first way of doing things, which is the way that everybody else does it, and then there's always the second way of doing things, and that's the way that like you were born into it and you have money for it, and then there's a third door, which is like, well, how he basically describes it, like like how Steven Spielberg got his start. Do you want to tell that part?
No. You can tell that part. So basically, the doors that you go through the back door, you go through doors that people generally don't go through.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the magical hidden way that people wouldn't think of.
And it's just so good because he relates, you really see how that theme, what he's talking about, is the theme of his entire book, and how he did all of that. He like goes through the third door and he like bangs on it and shakes the whole entire building, and well, he produces this book. Won't spoil it, but
well, you know, I can relate to that because a lot of the most amazing opportunities I had was a third door concept where, you know, the first two were slammed shut. But because I had tenacity and hustle and ambition and creativity, I was able to combat crawl my way into the basement window into a really cool thing, and had amazing opportunities because of it. So I can totally relate to the third door.
what was the thing that you went to?
I was at the Cannes Film Festival, and the Cannes Film Festival is a prestigious.
Snap! Really?
Yeah, it's a prestigious
Yes, of course.
film festival. It's like the number one top film festival on the planet, and so I wore a black kilt tuxedo for one of the premiere screenings, and I went down the red carpet, and a lot of the paparazzi were taking pictures of me, and I had no clue they were taking pictures of me. And then the next day I'm walking through the festival, and all these people are coming up to me and say, "Hey, I saw shots of you like on the red carpet. There's shots of you in the Greek newspaper right now." I go, "Really?" They're like, "You need to go contact the media people and see if you can maybe get some of those shots." So I'm like, "Yeah, cool." So I walk in to the media headquarters of Cannes, and as soon as I walked in, they all recognized me because there's hundreds of pictures of me on the red carpet, and every photographer had taken a picture, so they recognized me right away. So I went in to talk to somebody about how can I get some copies of these pictures, and I noticed that there was this other little room, this door, and there was a bunch of TV screens, and in there was different clips from different days of all the celebrities on the red carpet. So I kind of slipped into that hallway and slipped into that room, and I was standing behind a technician, and I'm obviously not supposed to be there. And I tapped one guy on the shoulder and I said, "Hey, I was on the red carpet yesterday. Is it possible I could get a video of my walk up the red carpet?" He turned, he's like, "Monsieur Black Kilt." I'm like, "Yeah, we can get you the whole red carpet and clips of you on it." And I was able to get a DVD of me on the red carpet in the black kilt tuxedo simply because I put it up on my website, of course.
And
so
that blasted you? That put you on blast?
Yeah, that opened a lot of other doors for me because people were like, "Wow, you were at the Cannes on the red carpet, and
that's the
like,
door.
That's insane.
You're like a star." So that was one of many
that
awesome.
I know. Thank you for sharing that story.
So where can we find you on the web? How can we follow you? And what's the name of your podcast going to be?
We're working on that. The name. If you have any idea, well, I don't know how I can reach the audience, but if anyone has any ideas, please let us know.
So how can they find you if they have an idea?
Okay.
Where are you Instagram girls?
Yes. Love the Instagram.
Yeah, but I'm not that active. I should be. I mean, yes.
Mine is Namaste with Maite, which is Maite.
Nice.
Namaste with Maite. Check it out. I talk about all this stuff on it. It's great.
Yes, she carries a lot of wisdom. So.
And where can we find you on the Instagram?
On Instagram, you can find me as Jennifer, JENNIFBR TRN. You can find me on there.
Awesome. Well, you can find me on a Nordic Track commercial running through, I think the NFL bought a bunch of packages. So if you're watching the games, you're going to be able to see my commercial. But you can also find me at podbrother.com, podbrothernation.com. Stick with the PodBrother. That's how you can find me. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by the PodBrother show. You guys, I'm your fans forever. So,
I'm your fan forever.
and when you're ready to do your podcast, let me know. I can help you with that.
We're ready.
Please.
We're ready.
Yes, we are so ready. And
Keep an eye out for it.
Yes.
All right.
Name coming soon.
Thanks,
Name coming
girls.
soon.
Kimbo!
What's that?
What's going on?
So good to see you.
Good to see you. How you been?
Good. You know.
What time did you guys get here?
PodBrother was popping.
What's going on with that beard?
So you want to come and do a little spot with me later?
You know, every time I say I do it, I never do, but I'm going to try it.
All right, before you get
I
out.
will for you.